I should have turned around the moment my GPS clicked. It was past midnight, the sky bruised with storm clouds, and I was hauling a half-empty refrigerated trailer across a stretch of highway I'd never seen before. I knew every mile of that state, like the back of my hand. But this road felt wrong the moment my wheels touched it. No signs, no lights, just a single cracked lane cutting through black nothingness. And the craziest part? It wasn't on any map, not on the GPS, not on paper, not even on Google when I checked later. It was like the highway wanted to stay hidden. I kept driving anyway. Stupid. Curious. A mix that usually ends with a body count. The deeper I went, the more my headlights didn't seem to reach the edges of the world. It felt like the darkness was swallowing the beams whole. Then came the figure. Thin. Still. Standing right in the middle of my lane. I slammed the horn, nothing. The figure didn't move. I braked so hard the trailer shook violently behind me. And when my truck finally stopped, when my lights caught his face, I swear his eyes weren't reflecting the light. They were absorbing it, like two holes punched into a human shape. I blinked. 1 second. 2. And the figure stepped backward as if melting into the dark, not walking. Sliding. My breath fogged the glass, even though the heater was off. I didn't want to keep going, but the road behind me had vanished into the same pitch black, like the highway was closing its mouth behind my truck. So I drove, and that was just the first thing that went wrong. 40 seconds in, and if you're still here, listen, because the stuff I've seen would make most people quit the road for good. And if you think none of this can happen, that truckers exaggerate. Stick around. Every story I post is something they don't want normal people knowing, so hit that like because it tells me I am not sharing this nightmare for nothing, and subscribe now so you don't miss the next drop. I promise you, each news story gets darker. I kept rolling, nerves firing like exposed wires. About a mile later, my radio crackled on by itself. No station, just static. Then a woman's voice, faint, almost behind the static. "Don't stop," she whispered. "Don't stop, or he'll catch up this time." This time, my hands tightened on the wheel. I didn't recognize her voice, but something in the tone felt personal, like she knew me. I pushed the truck faster. The road ahead curved sharply, and as I took the turn, I saw tire tracks fresh, one swerving violently off the pavement and disappearing into the trees, and right beside them, a mangled piece of a chrome mirror. Someone had crashed here recently. There were no emergency vehicles, no debris, no sign of cleanup, just the memory of violence left behind. My chest tightened. I thought about calling for help, but the radio died the moment I reached for the mic. Silence again, just my engine, and the feeling that something was pacing me in the dark. That was the first story the road gave me. The second began 30 minutes later. I spotted a dim glow far ahead, low to the ground, like hazard lights blinking. As I got closer, I realized a tanker truck was parked sideways across both lanes, like it had tried turning around and didn't make it. Its cabin was crushed inward, metal folded like paper. Something had hit it hard. I slowed down, heart pounding, expecting a driver injured, maybe crawling for help. But when I stepped out with my flashlight, the smell hit me: burnt rubber, diesel, and something else. Metallic and warm. The tanker door hung open. Inside, the cab was shredded, not like a collision, but like something had clawed through it. Long, deep gouges across the dashboard. The seat torn apart. No blood, no driver, just the sound of the wind. I backed up fast. My flashlight flickered, then shut off completely, and that's when I heard it behind the tanker. Something big breathing. Slow, heavy, wet, like lungs that weren't made for air. I didn't look. Every instinct screamed not to. I jumped back into my truck, fired it up, and floored it around the tanker, nearly scraping the trailer against twisted metal into miroir. For half a second, I saw a movement too tall to be human, too wide for anything that belonged on a road built by people, and it stepped onto the highway like it was curious. Then the road curved, and I lost sight of it. By then, I was done. I wanted off that highway. I wanted civilization. Gas stations. Screaming kids in back seats. Anything normal, but the road wasn't done with me. The third story hit the hardest, because this one felt personal. My fuel gauge started dropping fast. Too fast, like someone was siphoning the tank while I drove. My dashboard lights dimmed. My engine coughed. I checked the mirrors and saw the impossible. My own trailer lights were fading in and out, not randomly, but in a pattern. 3 short blinks. 3 long. 3 short. SOS. Except no one was inside my trailer. No one alive anyway. Primera pool d'Aubert, knowing I shouldn't, but the engine had nothing left. The moment the truck shut off, the world went silent. No wind. No insects. No distant highway hum. Just silence so thick it felt alive. I stepped out, flashlight shaking in my hand. The air was colder now, like I had stepped into a freezer. I walked towards the back of the trailer, each step heavier, slower. And then I heard knocking. From inside, 1 knock, then 2 faster. Then 5 in a frantic burst. I froze. The knocks turned into scratching. Desperate, like fingernails dragging across metal. I almost ran, but something made me pull the door latch. Maybe stupidity, maybe guilt. The doors swung open. My flashlight cut through the empty trailer, except it wasn't empty anymore. A single chair stood in the center, old, wooden, rocking slightly, as if someone had just stood up from it, and carved into the backrest were 3 words. You escaped once. My throat closed. I knew that handwriting years ago. Before I became a trucker, I'd survived a crash that should have killed me. I always said I felt pushed out of the way before impact, like something gave me a second chance. I never questioned it. Until now. Behind me. The knocking started again, this time on the outside of the trailer. Slow. Measured. Intelligent. I slammed the door shut and ran back to the cab. The truck started even though it shouldn't have. The headlights blasted on. The road ahead was bright for the first time all night, and just before I accelerated, I saw a figure standing at the edge of the beams, the same one from the beginning. Still. Waiting. Watching. And its eyes weren't holes now. They were mine, staring back at me. I peeled out, tires screaming, and didn't stop until I hit a familiar town sign 30 miles later. When I looked in the mirror, the road behind me was gone, replaced by open fields. Hit like to keep this channel alive, and subscribe because I've got more stories from the road. And some of them are starting to follow me home. I've been a trucker for 22 years, and I swear on every mile I've ever driven that the night I got trapped on that invisible highway wasn't the worst thing I've ever lived. No. The second time the road came for me. That was the night I realized the highway wasn't some cursed place you stumble onto by accident. It was hunting. Choosing. And this time, it didn't want to scare me. It wanted me to stay. It started on a Tuesday, a boring one. The kind where the monotony of the road feels almost comforting. Clear sky, clean asphalt. Not a single reason to lose my mind. I had a cross-country delivery and was already 2 hours behind schedule. So when my GPS offered me a shorter route, I didn't question it. I should have. But nothing felt wrong at first. No flickering lights. No cold wind. No shadowy figure waiting at the edge of the world. The road looked normal. Too normal. Then I noticed the mile markers. White. Plain. but the numbers didn't make sense. Mile 14, then 14 again, then 14. Same sign, same dents, same rust pattern. Like I was driving in circles, but the steering wheel was straight, and the road never curved. After the 5th mile 14, Primera slowed down. The air outside suddenly thickened, like humidity and smoke mixed together. That's when I heard a sound I'll never forget. Tapping, not inside the truck, not outside. Under it, like someone was hanging onto the chassis. Knocking upward. 4 taps. Pause. 3 taps. Pause. 1 long drag across the metal, scratching like nails made of bone. I floored the gas, but the sound stayed, not bouncing, not lagging, keeping perfect pace with me like whatever was under the truck wasn't holding on. It was moving with me, attached somehow. I wanted to pull over, but the moment I thought about it, something ahead appeared that froze the thought cold. A truck identical to mine. Same color, same dent on the left door. Same crack on the passenger mirror. Same scratched company logo down to the line I accidentally made while washing it with a broken brush last year. It was me. Or rather, my truck, blocking the entire road. Headlights off. Windows black. Engine silent. Primera bracket hard dust rose around me like fog. I tried the CB radio but got nothing, not even static. Just emptiness. Like the device wasn't even plugged in. I grabbed my flashlight and stepped out. The world felt muffled, like someone had stuffed cotton in my ears. No insects, no wind, no echo hoost dead air. I approached the doppelgänger truck slowly. Every step felt heavier, like gravity itself was trying to pin me down. The windshield was pitch black, but not tinted black like a void swallowing light. I got close enough to touch the hood, ice cold, and then the engine roared to life. I stumbled back. The headlights snapped on at full brightness, burning white like stadium lights. I shielded my eyes, and through my fingers I saw the silhouette of a driver behind the wheel. Hunched, frozen, watching me. For a moment, I thought it was me looking back. The shoulders, the head, Shapit, all matched. But when the figure slowly tilted its head, the movement was wrong, too slow, too deliberate, like it was imitating me rather than being me. Tanit smiled, not wheat lips, with the entire face stretching upward, too wide, too high, like skin being pulled by invisible hooks. I ran back to my own truck, threw myself inside, slammed the door, and turned the key praying the engine would start. It did. But the moment the headlights came on, the road looked different. The trees around me leaned inward, branches twisting like arms reaching for the pavement. Mile marker 14 stood right in front of me again, now bent at an angle, as if something large had walked through it. I tried driving in reverse, but the doppelganger truck did too. Perfectly like it was connected to my own wheels. Every move I made, it mirrored, except its driver wasn't a reflection anymore. Its head tilted farther, angles breaking, like bones snapping in slow motion. I slammed the gas forward instead. The duplicate truck did the same, but a moment too late. Just enough delay that I realized something. It wasn't mirroring me, it was predicting me, anticipating, learning. And it was getting faster. The tapping under my truck returned this time louder. Stronger, like fists beating the metal from below. Then a voice, low and wet, whispered through the air vents. Switch. The word crawled up my spine. Switch what? Switch trucks. Switch places. Switch lifts. I shouted into the empty cabin. What do you want? The voice answered through every speaker in the truck, even ones that weren't installed. You belong on this road. My heart dropped. The doppelganger truck's headlights blinked in response. Once, twice, 3 times, like it was signaling me, inviting me. Then all at once, the world shifted. The trees bent backward as if hit by hurricane winds. The asphalt rippled like water, my vision blurred. I gripped the wheel, trying to steady myself, and when the world snapped back into focus, the duplicate truck was gone. Relief lasted exactly 3 seconds. Because in the rearview mirror, I saw it behind me, chasing me. Voss! Its engine screamed like metal, tearing. Its grille twisted into the shape of a mouth. The driver inside my impossible twin was slamming its head against the windshield, cracking it with each hit. The smile never left its face. I pushed my truck to its limits. Speed I hadn't reached in years. The road began losing shape, warping, stretching, shrinking like reality. Couldn't keep up with the speed of the nightmare behind me. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't let that thing catch me. Then a sign. A real one. Exit 12. Ashland. A town I actually knew. I turned the wheel so hard my ribs hit the door, metal rattling. The truck leaned dangerously, but somehow held. The moment I touched the exit ramp, the tapping under the truck stopped. The air warmed. The sky brightened. I looked in the mirror. The doppelgänger truck sat at the top of the ramp, perfectly still. Watching. Waiting. Its headlights flickered once. A warning. Then the truck backed into the darkness, disappearing like someone yanking a curtain shut. When I pulled into Ashland, everything looked normal. Cars, people, noise, the real world. You'd think after everything I've been through the road that didn't exist, the truck that wore my face I'd finally learned to ignore anything out of the ordinary. But truckers don't get that luxury. Not when we live on asphalt veins that run straight into the unknown. And this last story, T's one Deeden. T's start with a wrong turn or a glitching GPS. It started with a call for help. A voice I knew. A voice that should have been dead. I was hauling steel beams toward the state line. Clear night, radio low, coffee lukewarm, the dream combination for any long-haul shift. Around 2:17 a.m. the CB hissed alive, not static, not chatter, just a single gasp, like someone taking a breath after drowning. Then a voice crackled through the speakers. "Tom, don't let him take me again." My foot froze on the gas, because that voice belonged to someone I used to drive with, Earl. And Earl had been dead for 9 years. Crashed on a winter run. Skidded off a bridge. Body found pinned inside the cab. Frozen solid. I'd been one of the people who identified the truck. Hearing his voice again was like hearing a coffin open. I grabbed the radio. "Earl, this isn't funny," the CB hissed. Then his voice edged and raspy, terrified, like he was speaking through a cracked throat. He found another road. "Tom, a road no one leaves. Don't follow the lights." My blood turned cold. Before I could respond, the radio died completely. Pitch silent. Then the world outside did something impossible. Every street lamp along the highway flickered, then shut off in perfect sync. One after another, like the darkness was rolling toward me. My truck's headlights dimmed, pulsed, dimmed again. The engine didn't stall, but it shivered, like it was afraid. Up ahead, a glow appeared, soft blue. Floating low, drifting across the asphalt like it wanted me to follow. I didn't want to, God knows I didn't. But something tugged at the back of my mind. Something whispering that Earl's voice hadn't been a warning. It had been a plea, and if he was trapped on some forgotten stretch of highway, maybe this was the only chance to find him. I followed the light. The moment my tires touched the next mile, everything changed. Fog swallowed the highway. Not normal fog. This fog moved like it had weight, flowing in slow waves, thick enough to muffle sound. My headlights cut through only a foot or two before dissolving into gray. The road felt narrower, the air heavier, and ahead just barely I could see the blue light weaving between the fog currents, like a lantern carried by invisible hands. I rolled forward, slow, steady. And then I saw a shape in the fog. A truck cab, upside down. Primera, get hard. As the fog thinned around it, I saw the true-than entire 18-wheeler lying belly up, like a dead beetle. Axles twisted, wheels spinning slowly, even though there was no wind. My skin crawled, because I knew that trailer. I knew that logo. I'd watched that truck sink through ice 9 years ago. Earl's truck. I stepped out, boots hitting the asphalt softer than they should. The fog swallowed every sound. No echo, no wind, no breath. I felt like the world was holding itself still. Watching, I walked toward the overturned cab. The door was torn off, hanging by one hinge. The inside looked frozen in time papers mid-scatter. Seat ripped, steering wheel bent, a coffee thermos crushed under the dashboard. "Tom!" The voice slid behind me, soft as cold breath on skin. I turned. Earl stood 10 feet away, or something wearing Earl's shape. His clothes were torn, his skin pale gray, like frostbite spread under it. But his eyes were Earl's, full of terror, full of sadness. "You shouldn't be here," he whispered. "He smells fear." I took a step toward him. "Earl, what happened to you? What is this place?" Before he could answer, the fog behind him rippled like something huge was moving through it. The ground beneath my boots vibrated, subtle at first, then stronger like massive footsteps. Earl grabbed my arm with freezing fingers. "Don't look at it. Don't ever look at its face." A shadow rose behind him. Dalan Doblerun, bone-thin and towering, stretching higher as if the fog itself were lifting it upward. Its limbs bent at angles that broke the rules of physics. Every step it took made the fog recoil. Earl's voice cracked. "Run." I didn't think. I sprinted back to my truck, heart slamming so hard I felt it in my teeth. The fog thickened, suddenly aggressive, pulling at my clothes like hands trying to drag me down. Behind me, something scraped across the pavement long, slow, like claws, testing the road. I reached the cab and threw myself inside. Slammed the door, locked. Italiano. The truck lights flickered violently, like they were panicking too. I turned the key. Nothing. Again. Nothing. Then the fog outside the windshield parted, and the creature leaned toward the glass. I didn't see its face, thank God, but I saw its outline. Hunched, expanding and contracting like a lung breathing wrong. Its fingers tapped the windshield lightly. Tap, 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 tap. Each tap cracked the glass a little more. Then Earl screamed from somewhere, deep in the fog. "Go!" The engine roared to life like it had been kicked by an angel. "I floored it!" Tires screamed. The fog parted violently, whipped aside as if something massive struck it from behind. The blue light reappeared ahead, moving faster now, guiding me. I followed it through twists of fog, over cracks in the asphalt that hadn't been there moments before. My mirrors showed nothing, just endless gray. Then Justa, like the eye broke out of the fog. The real highway lay ahead. Street lamps, cars, civilization. My lungs burned as I gasped for air like I had been underwater. I looked in the rearview mirror. No fog. No overturned truck. No Earl. Except for half a second, I saw him sitting in my passenger seat. Pale. Silent. A sad smile on his frozen lips. Then he whispered one final thing. "He's still looking for you." And vanished. I pulled into the next gas station and sat there for an hour, shaking. When I checked my dashcam later, The footage for that entire stretch was corrupted except for one frame. A single blink of blue light. And a shadow behind it. Far tu. To. If you've ever heard a voice you shouldn't have heard or felt like something followed you out of the dark, tell me in the comments. Truckers see things the world isn't ready for. Hit like if you want me to keep telling these stories, and subscribe, because the road has more secrets. And some of them aren't done with me yet.